actually just came by my house because I live 3 seconds away from our inspection. So we took a break.
Masks are great. Take back what I say about not liking them.
You okay, Mike?
Yeah, we'll make it.
Okay,
It's a good
take
test.
a deep breath, relax.
Well, I'm grabbing him a mask. Okay, are we?
Oh,
did we
poor
already
Mike,
start?
poor Mike.
Every day gets better.
Did we already start the meeting?
It's recording right now, but yeah.
Did
Hey,
we start
Tony,
checking?
Kathy, I see them. Long time no see.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'm going to, hold on, I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone until it's time for check-in. Yeah, I wasn't sure, Dina, if you were going to be able to make it since you guys were out in the field.
I mean, honestly, we just made the decision to stop by and stop for a second. So either way.
Okay. So who wants to go ahead and start the check-ins, Curtis or Dina?
Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday afternoon meeting. It's a beautiful day. So anyway, let's start check-in. For those of you that don't remember, it's who you are, what are you up to, and what do you need to move your business forward in the next 30 days. So, Ken. Hi.
How you doing?
I was wondering if you were there. Hi. Hey guys, why don't you check in for us?
Okay, we have a house under contract. Been doing some buying some houses out of town, and we've got a few of those taken care of. A loan in place where we're going to be creating a note, and just been cleaning up stuff around the office, trying to wrap up paperwork, and I think that's about it right now.
Awesome. Well, fun. Liz, I haven't seen you in forever.
I know, right? It's been a minute.
Liz, why don't you check in for us?
So yeah, I am currently working on getting, more exposure to real estate investing through either mentorship or, taking classes, reading books, following people like on podcasts and stuff like that. Not literally, I'm not a stalker, but yeah, just, trying to stay in and get ready to buy my first deal by end of this year.
Oh my gosh, that is, the end of the year is actually approaching. That's what's crazy, right?
I know, it's crazy. I say end of the year as if it's like so far away. It's really like less than 2 months away.
30 days, 60 days. Nice.
Exciting.
Oh, look who it is. A power couple, Sean and Is. How are you guys?
We're good.
Not too bad.
Well, you guys want to check in?
I'm checking good.
Oh, I guess in the next 30 days, what we're working to do is get LLC, but that's hopefully in the next week.
48
or two
hours. No, 48 hours.
Okay.
All right, nice. Well, I guess we'll find out if you did it at our next meeting. Happy to have you guys here. Okay. Hi, Tony. Oh, you did it for a second.
There we go.
Whew.
Hi.
Hi, Tony. What's
Hi.
going
How are you?
on? I'm actually.
Well, quite a few things going on, but a couple things Kathy and I are working on right now is trying to continue to find quads, multifamily properties. We're looking for 2 quads. We're looking in the
All right.
Myrtle Beach area right now.
Sounds good. Well, let me know what you find out, Billy. Appreciate you checking up on
Keep going.
I'm not sure who that was, but okay. So anyway, we're looking in Myrtle Beach area because we are in the process of building a house in the Georgetown area. So we're starting to focus a lot of our attention down in South Carolina with buying multifamily properties. So within the next 30 days, we're hoping to have a quad in that area.
Dang, that is pretty exciting. Well, I'm happy you're here, and I can't wait to hear what you are going to add to the meeting today. All right, Annette. Hi, Annette. You're on mute. All right, Annette, when you unmute yourself, say hi. Wendell Long, are you able to talk? Well, when you can, say hi. I believe that's everybody. Okay, Curtis Waters. Actually, Michael, what are you up to? Do you want to check in?
Hey, my name is Michael Azazi. I just got back from Vegas where I attended a real estate investing seminar through the Epic Real Estate Academy. I got to network out there. And I'm focusing in on exactly how I'm going to tackle real estate investing. I'm trying to find my niche, and in the next 30 days, I hope to close my first deal. But it's a matter of getting on the phones. That's kind of what I've been avoiding. But that's it.
Awesome. Curtis Waters, do you want to check in?
Don't ask me if I want to check in. I need to check in. Hey, I'm Curtis Waters. I'm the broker in charge for real estate realty, active investor, and I am currently working on multiple rehabs. We do these rehab for renters. We've taken some properties, improved them, and we've managed to increase the rent. So, returns are great on that. Next 30 days, looking for a couple more deals, and I've also got 5 closings set up in the next 30 days.
Holy moly, Curtis, that's a lot. Okay, my name is Nina, and currently what I'm up to today is getting keys from tenants and moving people out. So what do I need to move my business forward in the next 30 days? Well, I'm looking to add some new contractors we are looking at some contractors to our team. So I guess that's what I would need. And hi, Wendell. And Bonnie Laszlo, do you want to check in?
Sure. Let's see here. I am currently in the middle of same kind of thing with Curtis too. We got closings that are taking place. We're optimizing the current portfolio. We have taxes, obviously, that we're also working on, and working with the new investor support people, as well as delivering content and knowledge to all of you guys who are willing to spend your time learning about it. So congrats for that.
Awesome. Well, guys, okay, let's roll. Wendell, are you wanting to talk?
I am finally here and off the telephone.
Wendell, can you
Sorry
please
about
check in?
that.
Because I actually love hearing what you're up to.
Well, that's a lot. So, all right. So I got my underwriting back on my 2 loans last night. So they got it through underwriting. Everything's got a green light. Just got to go through their loan committee, but sounds like that's a push through. So that would refinance my properties. We're looking at another self-storage facility right down the road from one of ours now. We're looking at another 10 acres of land to do truck parking on, right just around the corner from that next new facility. So that's what we got going on, and I'm just looking at a way. It's very interesting being on this call. I don't know if it's time to tell it, but I'll save that one for the win. Go ahead. I'll save that one. I'm gonna leave a cliffhanger there.
Well, Wendell, thank you for the amazing segue, because let's go into wins. So, does anybody have any wins?
Well, I think getting my loan through underwriting was a pretty big win. But the other thing was, I got to tell this quick story about going to look at the storage facilities. This broker, he's out of Virginia, was supposed to meet us down there last Friday morning. We get there and he's not there. So the owner is there. So we go in. He finally says, look, I'm going to go ahead and show you around. I don't know where this guy is. So we went and he showed us around, and we got to talking to the guy. And I said, I don't guess, you ever thought about doing owner financing? He said, no, not really. I don't know. We might think about it. And then I talked to him again this week. He's down at the beach with his wife. And he says, I've been thinking about that more. I'm kind of liking the idea of that. So I'm looking at creative ways to calculate how do we help him, and we can save this for later, how do we help him figure out how much more money he can make, and also the tax savings piece of it to structure this deal instead of just getting all his cash out and paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. So.
That's a fantastic open floor topic.
All right, we'll talk about that when you get there.
I like it. All right, that's a pretty huge win. Does anybody else have any wins? Okay, guys, I'm going to give a win because we have multiple new investor support people on our call. So win to you guys. I'm not even just saying this. I am super excited to be working side by side with you. This is like giving me a lot of energy. So I want to thank you guys for giving me that rush today, and a win for you guys for investing your time for your future. So great. Happy to have you guys. All right. Any other wins? Slow week. Okay. Does anybody have any property pitches? I'll go ahead and pitch a property. So I have for a 3-bedroom for $40,000. Yes, that's what I have. A 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom for $40,000. And if you're interested in this property, you can message me at 704-835-6448. 704-835-6448. This will be an awesome project. So that's my property I'm pitching, and this is in Shelby, North Carolina. Does anybody else have any? Oh, and I already put together a scope of work, just to let you know. And I have contractors that are available that gave quotes. So there you go, package little deal. Okay, does anybody else have any property pitches?
I'm gonna go ahead and pitch a 5-unit package where 3 of the houses are in Charlotte and the duplex is over in Gastonia. And that package is going for $495. So if anyone is interested in a 5-unit package, one of the properties is duplex, the rest of them are single family houses. And 2 of the houses that are in Charlotte would be great, of course, fix and flip projects, but only one of those is vacant and the other one is currently occupied with a tenant that's paying $1,100 a month. And duplex is bringing in $1,100 as well.
Awesome. But Bonnie, what if they want to reach you about that project?
980-533-0988. Again, that's 980-533-0988.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any property pitches?
Yeah, I've got one to pitch.
Do it.
So I've got a parcel in right outside of Dallas, North Carolina, just outside of Gastonia. I'm asking $110,000 for it. It is a duplex with 6 mobile home pads. So 2 of the mobile homes are currently there. There's a lot of upside in this project. If you're interested, need more information, contact me at 704-564-5412. 704-564-5412.
Awesome. Okay, guys, any more property pitches? Okay, I am going to say now.
Yep.
Oh,
This window, hold on. All right, I just put in the chat. I guess Bonnie will share it because I can only do privately. She don't let me share public because everybody else, I must be doing too many bad things. So our home at 4323 Hubbard in Charlotte, it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. It's on Airbnb. It's bringing in a lot of money, and someone wants it's already set up and ready to go. Someone like to get in the Airbnb business and make a good investment. Big log cabin back there. It's a very unique property and sets itself apart from the competition well. 704-533-2961 Wendell Long, affordable home provider.
there you go. Okay, guys. So if you guys have any needs or wants, if you want anything or need anything, you know, I'm always looking for contractors. Put your needs and wants into the chat with your phone number so then Bonnie can post them. And we'll see if anybody has anything that you want. But for now, let's roll into open floor. So that's when you get to talk about what you want to talk about. You get to ask questions and everything like that. So who wants to start us off?
I have a question. So we had previously had already been looking into using LegalZoom in order to set up an LLC. Would you recommend them, or would you recommend another program, place, service to set up an LLC?
For me, I just went to my local attorney, and he just charged me not that much, and he just did it for me. That's how I did mine. I don't have any opinion on the online thing.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have also set them up with Harry's office, and he'll actually even tell you how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not hard to set up an LLC. You know the name, you know who you are. You essentially, you can go online, get the forms, fill them out. If you set up an account online, you can even file it, the form right online. It's quicker than sending it in the mail. And, I've done multiples that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's how I set up mine. But if you guys need help, I can help out because I literally just set it up. So I'd be happy to walk you through the steps, but I basically just did everything without having to pay anything. Really just went online. I mean, I paid for it to file the LLC, but I didn't pay anyone else to do it for me.
Okay, nice, yeah.
North Carolina, it's $125 to set up an LLC. It's another $2 to file it online. It's pretty simple. Now, the one thing North Carolina doesn't offer is anonymity to keep your name off of it. So, Wendell, did you have something, Dad?
Well, one question or thought on that. The LLC is, you're right, is not really a problem filing it, but what I've understood, it is something you need to consider. You need to have a good operating agreement because that's where really the strength of the LLC is. If you don't have a good operating agreement and you get into any kind of a legal situation, they're going to pierce right through it. So it's my understanding. So just thought I would put that in there, something to be aware of, and make sure in addition to filing it that you have that to go with it.
Operating agreement.
Yeah, that's a good point because I just researched in order to get a bank account, you need an operating agreement. We didn't need an operating agreement to open the LLC. So now we're going to have to consult with somebody, to walk us through that process.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then another item to consider is which state do you want to set it up in? So each state's a little bit different as well.
Okay. So because it has to come with an operating agreement, but best to just get an attorney to do it all?
Yeah, I mean, Harry's office has a bunch of that stuff and he tells people. I'm not sure if he's offering that, those documents or not, but easy enough to ask, or he has that. But
and you check his website too. He has a lot of that stuff on his website. He doesn't necessarily guarantee it to be, everything 100% the way you need it, but he may give you an outline to start with.
Okay.
And you can find a bunch of sample ones, on the internet as well, just so you have an idea of what, basic structural aspects of it you want. And, I wouldn't pay any more than about $300 or less to, get it up and going, just so you have an idea of the cost and stuff.
Yeah, we have been looking. They were like $500-$600, and I was like, oh, okay.
No. Yeah, you don't need to. Just it's the whole important aspect of knowing how much these things cost.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay,
I have a need or a want here. I'm gonna throw out to the group. I forgot to put it in there. So we're putting up deck railing. My son has built all the metal posts. My wife wants this cable railing so she can see out. We're having a time with the top rail. We thought, you can just go buy some wood. We put composite deck on the floor because it wasn't much more expensive than wood deck because the wood's gone up so much. Anybody's got any source? I've checked into some clear red cedar and it's $20 a foot.
Wow.
And we got about $2,400 worth of that.
Yeah, I don't know if
120 feet of
into the rails that you string them across, but I don't know if you're using metal or if you're sticking to wood, but I know they've got kits and everything that you can buy.
Yeah. Well, he's done all the stuff, my son is a welder and he fabricated all the rails and everything and got all the cables. We just don't have a top rail. I just thought if anybody had a source for that. I was a little shocked at the pricings.
Yeah. I know that you might want to talk to Harry. He's always getting that wood for his furniture and everything and for everything under the sun. So he definitely knows a place to get big lumber things and,
well, we got access to it. We got a sawmill over at our vocational school, and they just go over and saw up some real cedar and make it out of that.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, as long as you have someone
for that much money, I think we might go saw a few logs up.
I know. Because I even saw like a picture of Caitlin sprawled out on top of one. It was as big as her,
Yeah. So. Yeah. He loves that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's going to find all this wood, but it looks pretty interesting. I know he uses it for furniture and such, which in its raw form would be
not usually exterior grade stuff. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Wendell, you had a question. So during check-in, you were talking about how you ask essentially a form of my favorite question. Hey, what if, owner financing?
Yeah, but I'm going to preface this though. We're not attorneys. We're not accountants. We're not anything. So what we're saying is just based on our opinions. So anything that we talk about in regards to those things, I just want you guys to understand that this is hearsay per se. And
educational purposes only.
You got it. And just so you know, I did just do a basic Google thing and I posted it up on my Facebook as well as onto the Hobby Millionaire Facebook. But here's just one little snippet and then we'll let Curtis add to it. But the initial snippet in regards to owner financing, it says this, and this is according to lovely Google, right? When you sell with owner financing and report it as an installment sale, it allows you to realize the gain over several years instead of paying taxes on the capital gains all in that first year. You pay a much smaller amount as you receive the income. This allows you to spread out the tax hit over many years. Does anyone have any questions on what that means?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Okay, so Curtis, you want to go ahead and explain the initial aspect of what an installment sale is?
Yeah, so in an installment sale, let's set up a really simple scenario. Let's say someone's going to sell you a property for $100,000. The term is 10 years, and you're going to pay them $10,000 a year. Real basic. We're not dealing with any interest or anything. So in the first year, the seller would recognize $10,000 that they received. Now, let's say that they had in this property $50,000. So the first month, they're getting back part of their interest in the property. You know, it's called their tax basis. So the first 5 years, they get back their basis, and it isn't until year 6 that they start getting back any profits. So year 6 through 10, those are profits. So rather than having to get back all that money at once in a cash sale, or you went to the bank and the bank gives them the money, it's essentially cash for the seller. They would have to pay $50,000 worth of, let's say they held it for a couple of years, a year and a day. So it's a long-term capital gain. They would pay their long-term capital gain, which for most people is 15%. They'd pay, 15% of 50,000 would be $7,500 in tax. But now they're taking that money and they don't pay it until year 6, and they only pay like $1,500 each one of those years. So it's very beneficial. The other thing that a seller gets, so Wendell, yours is, of course, I'm sure more than $100,000 purchase. You're going to give him some down payment money, and he's going to take the rest over time. So the gain he gets, he can defer that gain, and he's making interest on his money.
Maybe.
Okay, well, whatever you negotiate.
Well, there's also the aspect too. I know Curtis mentioned paying $1,500, but depending on the tax people and how you have things structured, sometimes they don't have to pay anything until they actually start making money, because everything up to their basis could be possibly, tax exempted or, deferred or whatnot. So just kind of understand too, like we had a seller pretty much allow us to pay him $5,000 a month, in essence, until it was paid in full. And that way he didn't have any interest, to pay taxes on or anything. He was just getting principal payments back. And the way he had it structured was that when he was receiving those principal payments, his attorney had told him that he did not have taxes to pay on those monies during that time.
So that's
but was the principal, I guess the question there was that principal not part of that gain?
Not until after his basis was received.
Oh, okay. Everything up to the basis. That makes sense.
So that example I gave earlier, your basis is 50,000, and as a seller, what you sold it for 100. If you didn't start getting your money past your basis until you're after year 5 into year 6, then you don't actually pay any tax until then.
But the basis is kind of like the down payment. Is that another word for it?
It's the amount of money you bought it for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So if you bought the house for 50 grand and, he was talking about you giving them $10,000 a year and paying $15,000 or $1,500 in taxes.
After that point. after you get your money back.
Yeah,
After you reach your basis.
So a question, on your basis, would you include also how much money you put on improvements?
Of course.
Maybe ask Curtis, ask an attorney, ask someone. He's giving you advice that way.
But let's take your example of you got 50,000.
We're not confirming nor denying anything, guys, because I am not going to get us stuck in this. Okay, so I can tell you that maybe not, but just check on it and make sure you ask that question to see if there's savings there for you. We're not giving you guys yes or no, and we're just not going there. I love you guys, but not that much in regards to putting our butts on the line, all right? So he says
the 1,500
yes,
you were putting out.
We don't know. We're telling you to go, check it out for yourself.
The 1,500 though would be based off of the $100,000, right, Curtis?
No. So you
the 10
only
grand.
Yeah, so the 10 grand. If a long-term capital gains are at 15%.
Oh, okay, I got you. That's how much money you would be paying in a year. I got you.
That's how much money you're paying.
Potentially, but that is potentially after you paid the basis back. Let's say it was in year 6. We're assuming that's in year 6. We need to be verified, right?
Right.
But just assume that in year 6 you were starting to pay back the gain. Then you would pay 15 of that. In a case of 10,000, you would pay back the gain of $1,500 a month. That makes sense.
Maybe if you don't have things deferred out.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna throw another question out here. Okay, a scenario, and let's just see if this makes any sense. So, if this guy says, "Yeah, I'm gonna tell him," I basically just told him, "You're in the place of the bank," and I'm also looking for this broker has kind of ticked both of us off because he didn't even show up for an appointment. I had 5, 6 of my people there to look at this property, and he didn't even bother to show up or call and say, "I'm not going to be there," until after we had completed the appointment. So I'm looking for maybe another broker.
What was his reasoning behind that?
Oh, he was with some buddy of his over in Concord, and we were on our way over to look at the property.
Yeah,
and then I said, "Well, we'll meet after the meeting then." And he said, "Yeah, I'll get up with you after I get." He called me at 4 o'clock on his way back to Virginia.
Okay.
So, anyway, well, one other question I had, just as a thought. So let's just, and I think about this as the old Ron LeGrand talks about the golden goose.
Yeah.
If he kept all of his principal, we just paid him interest only, and that would be enough income for him to live off of. He's got three boys, and if he wanted them to each have $1 million a piece, when he put that in a trust, he could just receive the interest, and he would have to pay taxes on his interest, but he could leave it all in place and not pay any capital gains, potentially, because if he didn't receive any of the principal is where you're going to start receiving capital gains, I think.
Can he put it in a Roth?
That makes sense.
Well, there's up to basis.
No, I'm just saying if he just left his principal in place, we just paid him interest only. We're only paying interest on it. Then his.
Yeah, you're paying taxes supposedly on that interest that you're receiving on those dividends.
Right, he would still have to pay the taxes. I was trying to think of some way to keep him from, and that may be more expensive because that's going to be potentially regular income instead of capital gains.
It's going to depend on what his tax rate is.
And that's why the guy on the portfolio, he just allowed us to give him $5,000 principal payments until it was paid in full, so that the tax situation was not recognized until later down the road, right? According to his accountant.
Till he got over his basis.
And I'm just relaying back hearsay information from, his accountant.
So the other thing you could do is if you wanted to just make interest payments, you could set up a scenario where it's an interest-only loan. That it doesn't balloon for X number of years, and now it's part, it would typically, I'm not a tax advisor, you should check, but typically part of his estate. Yeah,
and that was the other thing I was looking at doing is then then at their passing, all that money could pass, to his children, assuming taxes were still the same at that point in time. That, the way it works now is, everything passes tax-free to your heirs.
Yeah. The other thing that you may want to consider, and I've seen people say, well, I don't want interest income. I'd prefer, it's this dilemma. I want the lower tax rate capital gains. The other thing that you might want to consider is structuring an offer, and you're going to have to know more about his tax situation, I think. What if you structured that you would pay X percentage more and no interest? Essentially, he's still getting.
Well, that was really my whole thing here, because this broker's, he's pretty hot shot and saying, oh yeah, this thing's going to bring a big price. It's really overpriced from an income standpoint. It's only anywhere close from buying it as a square footage, because they have done some expansions that are not, they're just getting a CO on some expansions. But that was the other thing I'm looking at, is how do I, structure a offer at a higher dollar amount. Of course, I'm going to raise the broker's commission if I do that. That's the only challenge.
I mean, you can offer what you want to offer, and I mean, people don't realize it, but after a 30-year mortgage, right, and it's at X amount of interest, you're really paying double or triple the house value anyway, right? So you could easily, if someone's asking $100,000 for a house, you can easily offer $150,000, X amount of payments until it's paid in full, which is, one of my offers inside of my book. Whether you know it or not, that's pretty much an interest-free loan there, right? So then they can worry about the tax aspects of it.
In the case where you got a broker involved, you're going to raise their commission.
Well, before you do that, you would negotiate the commission and just say, hi, you're paid X amount for your commission.
Yeah, because remember, this broker that didn't even show up to the meeting is certainly going to show up to get his commission. So you're going to want to talk about the money as soon as possible. And I would share with him what your scenario is, that, hey, I'm paying more rather than paying interest. And, you don't get a commission unless it closes. So here's how I propose to structure your commission.
How do we work this so that we don't give away all of our knowledge to this other broker and he gives it to some buddy of his?
You mean like a non-disclosure that you're going to have to enforce? That may not.
Well, I guess a unilateral non-disclosure almost, because my concern is he's got these buddies he's got, and we go and create this sweet deal, and then he's got it in his hands, and he just takes it off and gets somebody else to do the same thing or changes it a little bit. But one thing I've done is I have talked to fortunately, him not showing up to this meeting was perfect. I'm not complaining. I'm not cutting the broker out, which I can't. But, I would prefer to talk directly to the owner anyway. And it was interesting because I also talked to the owner about why don't we, I'm going to talk to the owner as the lender in this case. He will become we'll have that conversation. That really, I'm assuming, doesn't have anything to do with what happens between the, on the sale side.
So
he's going to be like, I'm dealing with my bankers.
So just to keep things simple, because remember, a confused mind says no, I would go ahead and structure the purchase price just like the normal purchase price. But then, have an owner financing addendum attached to it that lays out how you want that structured, because the sale of the home and the, financing on the property can be discussed separately. Because the agent just wants to see an offer come through, copy and paste it, send it to the seller to see if they say yes or no. But the seller at that point will be able to read your seller financing addendum to see how you want it structured. But then the agent obviously knows their commission is based on that, you know, normal purchase price, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Because once they agree to things, you can always do an amendment to your contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that way you've hashed out the negotiations without, you know, making an attempt to educate this agent on how to speak to the seller on your behalf versus seeing what's in writing. And then
But what's to keep that agent from then taking that same deal and giving it to his buddies and having them match it? Or
absolutely nothing. The only thing you have going for you is for that seller to be more confident in you than a random stranger because he's met you. Remember,
I agree.
right? Because you're the one who put it in his head about it, and you probably look, you know, great on paper. So whenever you're submitting your stuff over, make sure you have your proof of funds with it. Make sure you have, you know, information about you with it. Because I don't know of, you know, if this agent has a buddy like you, Wendell, but Wendell, you're one of a kind. You're a diamond, man. So I wouldn't worry about the competition. he's gonna want to lend to you and not to a random stranger. You know, you have a totally different demeanor to you, and you have a portfolio, and you're a solid bet.
Well, and that was one of the things he said. That the broker told me they wanted somebody that could close, and also, I mean, we are a neighboring facility, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard for that agent to go find another Wendell. Ain't gonna happen.
I hope not. We hope there's not another one out there.
Yeah, but I mean, but you already have rapport with that seller and everything, so just keep it simple, because the agent's just gonna see the contract. He's gonna copy and paste that contract for the seller just to review it. You know, maybe they have a discussion about it, maybe they don't, because a lot of times, you know, the agents aren't very savvy compared to the investors selling things, and vice versa, right? So there's a lot of people that are, you know, selling where I'm more savvy, you know, if I'm playing the agent realm than they are. But more often than not, I don't think they're going to understand what's really going on the finance side. All they care about is proof of funds. Do you have the money? Am I going to get paid my commission at the end of it? And you can structure all that lending aspects with the attorney and stuff. So it doesn't necessarily have to be with the agent.
Yeah, and don't forget Bonnie's thing she continues to remind us about, that money is confidence. So you've got the confidence of the seller. So just because the agent may be able to go in there and take your approach and try to hijack it, these folks don't have the rapport that you've set up with the seller.
Yeah, he left the door open for us, and that's a good thing. Doors will get open, and you know, the other thing is, we talk about in this business that people put their heart and soul in building these facilities, and it's like getting their daughter married off. They want to make sure they got them hooked up with the right person. So.
Very true.
They're kind of selective on who they want to sell it to.
And you know, that's not just with self-storage. I've even seen situations where, you know, someone selling a house will say, well, you got to promise me that you're not going to raise the rent until the end of the lease. And, you know, sometimes that's a pain, but, you know, they feel that they have an obligation to the tenants. So, you know, that'll happen from time to time.
Yep.
Okay. Well, they got relationships with these people. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack the meeting here. Speaking of hijacking.
No, that's what open floor is about. I mean, everyone's learning about this and listening how we're working through the strategy of it, right? And I mean, they're gonna be able to utilize this information to structure their seller finance deals and how to handle it when there's an agent in the middle of it, right? So that's why I always tell you guys, and I think I probably have a YouTube video out there too, talking about when you're making the offer. I think it's one of the book chapters or something where I talk about, make sure you just add the addendum or your letter of intent to the contract you're submitting in for your offer, and let the seller pick one, on what's right for them. Because everything in writing is a lot more powerful, and it bypasses the agent, right? Because you're able to say it. I don't care if you're going to put it in, bullet format, or if you're going to write them a novel, whatever you want to do, as long as it's in writing, they have to give that to the seller, right, on your behalf. So just kind of keep that in mind. Another thing too, for those that want to connect with each other, I just want to go ahead and add this real quick. If you would go onto the Hobby Millionaire Facebook page, because I want you guys to connect with each other in that open forum as well. So if you're not already on the Hobby Millionaire Facebook page, go there, find each other, chit chat with each other, so that you guys can connect, and from there you guys can go, into private messaging and all that kind of jazz if you want to do that. I just want to make sure that everyone's utilizing the space. We have you guys all connected, into the main group too. Also, you can connect with each other on Meetup as well. So when you have signed up for the Meetup, platform and everything, you guys can chit chat with each other, that way as well. Looks like we have a question in regards to pitching. So I'm sure everyone's in this boat right now. So, looking to develop a financing relationship with a fix and flipper person, having X amount to invest for initial project with some terms, potentially can access some more funds, on that project, and with longer turnover. I'm not sure what that means. So if you want to talk about that, we can go ahead and get into that, here in open floor, because I know all of you guys are looking at how to, pitch and develop relationships with different people who are either investors or lenders or whatnot. So who are you guys trying to develop a relationship, let's see, with, in regards, let's say, to this fix and flipper? Is this person an investor, or is this person like a fix and flip lender? How is that working? Gotta unmute yourself.
Yeah, actually, I guess somebody.
Hold on, before we get into this, so the stuff that you gave me is great, but I want to make sure that you can tell the parts I took out of that conversation, just because I don't want to be specific, because I also don't want you guys to show your negotiating hand to anyone else, okay? You can show it to me because I can help guide you and everything, but there's parts, as I reiterated it, you can notice I took out, and I took it out for a reason. So keep that in mind when you're, sharing what's going on, because I just want to make sure that, this doesn't get back to anyone you're trying to negotiate with, okay?
Okay. I actually don't have anybody in particular that I'm negotiating with yet. I'm trying to figure out if I wanted to, take advantage of an open forum. Say I have a little bit of cash excess that I have available to offer as in a note terms, or possibly in a possible partnership if you don't have enough cash to go through with the deal.
Okay. So what are you looking to get out of this though? Are you looking to do a joint venture? Are you looking to do your own project? Are you looking to just learn? What's the goal of building this relationship?
More of a joint venture experience, trying to experience and understand possibly notes if that's the way they're going, or
Okay.
to do more of a joint venture if they need extra cash to finish it.
Yeah.
Or if they.
But here's the whole thing. What is the reasoning behind it? Is the reasoning behind it to make interest income, or is the reason behind it to learn the process? Like, are you going to be hands-on? Are you going to be hands-off, just receiving a check? What's your role in this?
At this point, I am, I do eventually want to learn more, but I kind of want the first couple times can be hands off, just to kind of like, okay, I've been through the process. And then as I go forward and make another deal, I might want more hands on, but you know, that'll be as I go. I just need to have experience in having done it, you know, so I can develop my own.
I can tell you just from experience of what we've done with people before. So people are coming in. Normally we have them come in as clients, or we have them come in some capacity on a project. Before we'll do normally a joint venture, unless you have experience, we will have people, you know, go in, you know, as a lender in essence, or the funds are placed onto a property. Based on which property the funds are on, you go through the process, obviously, with the attorneys and stuff like that, but you also have access to us, right? So you have access to look at the project and see how it's going and what we're doing and that kind of thing. Because we want to share with, you know, obviously you know how to do it. Because I remember there was one person who came into a project as a lender, and during that time she was learning how to do that project so that whenever the funds came back out of that project, she could do her own. And then what ends up happening sometimes too, we had people who have lent on it, and they see what's going on and they're like, yeah, I just want to keep lending. Like, I don't want to have to deal with any of that headache. I like the, you know, checks just coming in every month, and, you know, that's my gig. So you're going to obviously be able to figure out what your, you know, appetite is. Curtis can also talk to you more about how that's structured with the things that we do. But the actual pitch per se, I just want you to be careful, because depending on who you're pitching to, there are people who, you know, I don't know them, but I remember when we had our face-to-face meetings, there were some people that would come to the meeting, and they actually, I guess, over at an attorney's office too, and outside of an attorney's office, there were some people that were transacting things. I know nothing about it. They met, you know, each other over, you know, at different meetings and see each other around at different groups and stuff. But you really need to be careful and make sure that whoever you're joint venturing in, or whoever you're doing something with, is going to do what they say they're going to do, right? And they're not going to take your funds and disappear. And unfortunately that does happen. Or you lend to someone who's brand spanking new and you don't get your money back for 15 years. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, I know you guys want to help people, but this is a business. You're not running a charity. You guys have your own retirements to worry about. And that's not money that is worth the risk, in my opinion. I mean, you guys can run your businesses how you want. You can, you know, oh, woe is me, I want to give this person a chance. But, you know, do it in a way that you're safeguarded, to where you're not going to lose your money, right? Ken and Sue, why don't you go ahead and pipe in here about, I guess, lending. I know that you had some hiccups with some delays and everything. So I just want everyone to learn from these things about, you know, lending and how you did it and what your mistakes were. So can you just share with her, like, if she were to go and, let's say, she did something with somebody, what that would look like? Because everything's peachy fine. I don't need to talk about the perfect, right? You put the money in the project, you make money, they make money, you get it back on time, everything's good in the world. We understand, you know, what, you know, the unicorn projects look like. But let's go ahead and look at the ones that are the dogs, okay? So Ken, go ahead and share.
Well, we had 2 projects in Salisbury, one contracting partnership. So we lent the money.
Oh, hold on one second. So remember, this is recorded and we share this. So just make sure that you're speaking in generalities about things. No,
it's going to be very
names
general.
Or addresses or anything. To say there's a house somewhere on this planet. It could be on, you know.
Okay. So anyways, we have a partnership, and as all partnerships go, these 2 partners had a falling out. And what happened is, you know, we made a few mistakes on our end. We didn't do enough due diligence. We do background checks now when we lend money. Just at a high level, we keep our dealings within people within our networks that we know and have a reputation, and who we see at the meetings and things of that nature. And particular deal, we didn't do our due diligence properly, but the guy sold us. We did one deal with him, went excellent, the unicorn deal. We made 12% plus 3 points on the deal, which was nice. So we turned around, we lent him money on 2 more houses. What happened is he started spreading them around to different houses. So and that's very common when you get into an investor and he's got multiple projects going, you're lending him money. If you're not on top of it, you don't know where your money's going. It could be going in house A, B, or C, and you're actually lending against A and B, and C's getting your money, and it just needs control. Long story, the short in the story is they had their falling out, and I had to step in and work with the partner that was left. He got the short end of the stick, and somehow, the other partner managed to put everything in his name and his responsibility. And he had integrity, because he could have walked away and just filed bankruptcy. And but him and I worked together. We got one house finished and sold. We got the second house finished and sold. But on lending him roughly about $200,000, we only made maybe 10 or 15%, period, the course of 2 years on that money. But the nice thing is back, we did get our money back. It took 2 years, a lot of effort on our part to get involved and, bring in my contractors to finish the jobs. So,
but you guys are good. 5% a year. And, good thing for you guys having the wherewithal on how to, pull the deal together versus spending thousands of dollars on, attorney's fees and trying to, get things sold at auction or, deed in lieu of foreclosures and all that kind of stuff. So I commend both of you guys for stepping in and being responsible and working things out. Because just know 5% is better than no %, right?
Yeah, just getting the money back was great,
Yes, absolutely.
And,
so it's kind of
that's common. Those guys who are out there, like Pawnee said, you really got to rely on your network, because some of the people that I've pulled out of the network, have got themselves in trouble as well. Not with me, but they got themselves in trouble. So,
yeah,
you just got to stay on top of your deal, on top of your money, because you are lending hard money. And and another thing that I don't typically do, and only, I rate the people I lend to, just say like an A, B, or C. And if you're a C, I'm going to feed you the money. I'm going to do more like a Carolina hard money. I'm going to go look at the project, make sure the money is being spent on the house that I'm lending on, make sure it's progressing. And then a more advanced investor that I see and I know their record and they do good business, I'll just give them the money and walk away, and it's fine.
Yeah, and guys, just know that, no one wants to micromanage over anyone. We have other things to do. We've got, other projects to work on. And the cool thing about it, though, is, the people that are new, that are showing up, playing full out, and, practicing, let's say, on other people's portfolios with investor support and everything, you're being watched. I'll tell you that right now. In the group, you're watched, and everyone watches each other. We share each other's wins, but there is some type of calming aspect of the way we do this, where we know where to find each other. It's not like you can go and disappear. And if things go, sideways or something, I think that it's, we're one of the rare, groups of people where, okay, this happened. We know why this happened, because chances are, guys, we run into every snag or whatever, and we know how to maneuver through them for the most part. But, the main thing is when you're doing anything with anyone, lending, deals, learning, you have to be able to communicate. and early. So before it turns into a hot mess, right? So just always, keep that in mind too. And whenever, we're doing notes, which is lending aspect, and Curtis just brought up, we're going to go over some of the note information. And, make sure that the attorneys are doing the paperwork correctly for you. Guys, don't be wiring any type of, funds directly to somebody. Like, wire it to the attorney's office, right? So that, it's not like you just Venmo'd or, sent the money, directly to their account and everything, right? So you just want to make sure you're doing business properly. And what's another thing in regards to doing these? I don't know. It's like, although nothing's going to be perfect. Let me tell you that. Okay. If you're brand new, chances are you're going to run over your rehab budget or be taken advantage of. It's just going to happen. Okay. Unfortunately. So you want to learn from other people's mistakes, and you want to limit that possibility. And the only way to have that happen is have some strong figures, or have, a resource to where you can go and bounce things off of. You guys have, the RIA clubs, right? I didn't have RIA clubs whenever I was doing this, where you can just ask somebody, hey, is $7,000 an okay price to pay for an HVAC system, and have someone be able to tell you if you're being, taken advantage of or not, right? So kind of keep that in mind. And then you also have to be a little bit curious and cautious about the loan to own people, where, you're getting grandma's house, let's say, for, $10,000, and your credit's horrible. And this lender knows 100% you can't make this go because you have zero experience. And so they lend you, $30,000, hoping, praying, and wishing that you default, and they just got grandma's house for 30 grand. You understand? So not only are you guys going to need to look out for borrowers, let's say, if you're giving people money, but you also, on the other side of the fence, all the new people, you guys got to be careful with who you're getting the money from, okay? Because if you do have a snafu, is that lender going to be like, oh, too bad, so sad, So just make sure that you lay out what your guidelines are and how things are going to work, where if everything goes according to plan, great. If it doesn't, then what does that look like? Are you going to be able to, have a resolution, or is this something where, you're not, you're going to get yourself into a situation where you might have to claim bankruptcy or something like that, right? But you don't want to get yourself into those types of scenarios. And we want to make sure that you guys are, obviously learning how to do real estate investing where your first ones are no-brainers, right? Because I can tell you right now, anyone lending to you, BKs are a last resort if someone is garnishing your wages and pulling money out of your bank account. Anytime prior to that stuff, you should be able to work something out, settle something out, talk to people, try and work it through, that kind of thing. So as long as you guys, are in that mindset versus, becoming an ostrich and putting your head in the sand and walking away, you're going to do good at this. I mean, I wish I could tell you you guys are going to bat 100, but unfortunately you're not, right? There's going to be some kind of snafu. All right. Wendell, you have anything for the new people in regards to this manner with joint ventures and being lent to?
Have good, solid agreements in place. Make sure there's no, as we call it in our Sandler training, no mutual mystifications. Be totally upfront and clear. Have it in writing. I've been there, done that. It's not a good situation. Before you ever get into it, don't wait and say we're going to do that someday, sometime. Before you ever put the first dollar into it, make sure you've got your solid. That goes back to the operating agreements we talked about with the LLC or any type of joint ventures agreements, whatever they are. Make sure everybody is on the same page, and that they're, as much as possible, they got the same goals in mind you want to accomplish. So that's the only thing I can tell you from, that's just sharing my experiences.
That's great advice, 100%. Yeah, because like earlier today, we're talking about conditions of satisfaction, and just understand, like the lender, their condition of satisfaction is, I give you the money, you pay me X amount per month, and then you give me back the rest at the end over X amount of time. and that's in writing. So same thing with anything, you're going to do the same, aspects with your project as well. And then in there, the paperwork, it says, well, what happens if you don't? Well, then you assign your rents over to them and you, in essence, agree to be foreclosed on, right? So just kind of understand like all that's in writing. So you want to make sure that everything, is in that capacity as well. Curtis,
So bring your,
go ahead.
So bring your attorney to the offering table. Like, don't have them read after the fact. Like, have them make it up for you.
What do you mean?
So when you're doing, like, having everything in writing, like, you want to have your attorney, you didn't have to physically be there with you, but your attorney should be there with you from the get-go?
No. So, no. So let's say you're going to do a deal and they wire the funds to the attorney's office, and the attorney is going to be the one who drafts everything up in writing based on what both of you agreed upon.
Okay.
Because they don't come into the mix until negotiations are over and you guys have a contract, right? So at that point, they're going to be like, okay, well, there's $100,000 here. You're agreeing to pay back X amount per month, and you're going to get back the lump sum of it, after this amount of time. And if that doesn't happen, what happens? And then the paperwork says all that stuff, right? So that way there's a meeting of the minds with everything. And, it's good just to let the pros handle that kind of stuff. You just have to make sure that you're crystal clear on what you want. And then the other side is crystal clear what they want. And then you let the attorneys legalize it for you.
Okay.
Yep. And make sure you review those documents too, because remember, they're pulling these stock forms and they're doing plug and chug. So you want to make sure you look at your paperwork and it doesn't have someone else's name on it, someone else's address buried in the document somewhere. So just make sure that, you're crystal clear, on the paperwork and that kind of thing. All right, Curtis, what else do you want to add?
Yeah, it's easy to get those dates screwed up, and attorneys, they make mistakes too. They got paralegals. They'll put in the wrong year, the wrong month. So make sure you know what you're looking at. Generally, if I'm going to ask for money for a private lender, I send them an email that says, here's how much you're gonna loan. Here's the period of time. Here's the interest rate. Here's what the payments will be. If there's any balloon payments, term of the loan, any special conditions. And then all that, they reply, yeah, I agree. It gets sent to the attorney and the attorney writes it all up.
Yeah.
And all the funds go through the attorney. You don't get it until all the paperwork is done, signed, and recorded.
And just so you know, there is a piece of paper that they sign too that says if there's any typos or errors and stuff that they agree to help amend those. And I know that one thing, I think we're supposed to get funds for 10 years on one project, and it ended in like a day because the date or the year was wrong. But then they're able to correct it based on, the other stuff that was in writing and stuff like that. So just know that that does happen. So just be careful to look at your dates too, because you don't want to have a one-day loan versus a 10-year loan, kind of important.
Yeah, the other misconception is that the lender has to sign the paperwork. They don't. So the only one that's signing the paperwork is the borrower. So once you come to the terms of here's how much I'm borrowing and all the details, you get a sign off from them. It can be simple by email. It goes to the attorney. You sign as the borrower. You sign 2 documents, essentially a mortgage and a promissory note. And it's all on you. You're the one promising to pay.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, our time is up. I know we got started a little bit late, so we want to make sure that you guys got your full hour in to ask questions and, meet together and that kind of stuff. Adina, anything else you want to add to tell everyone before we end off?
Well, I just want to say that we will definitely see you tonight at 7 p.m. for our advanced investor meeting. Also, you heard us talking about investor support. If you want to do any investor support, you can find that on hobbymillionaire.com. And that's really all I got.
Okay, wonderful. Well, guys, thanks for logging on, being with us. Remember, we do also have the telephone number that's attached to these particular calls. So if you're not in front of a computer, don't have it on your phone, and you're out and about, You can keep your earbud in or dial it up on your telephone and stuff just so you can listen to the nuggets of information. Or if you need to ask, questions and you happen to be in the field doing things. So with that said, guys, it was great seeing everybody and hope to see you guys tonight, tomorrow, and I'll see you guys later and check us out, obviously,
Thanks.
in the future. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks.